All right. We are live. Welcome to Social Surge with Fly and Mo. Oh, yeah. That's the music right there. Definitely a bop.
It's like a little electronic, but like it's like optimistic in a way. Like we're doing it.
Hey, it is a dance party with Fly and Mo on Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Now, why am I saying all of that? Because it's my anniversary today.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pretty cool, right?
Of you and Heck tour.
Yeah. What the heck?
No, Hector, you desperately need a little series called What the Heck.
Oh my gosh, that's actually really good.
Yeah, I'm very.
That could be a lot of fun.
Did I freeze? Oh, I'm back.
You're back. Yep, we've been married 26 years.
Holy cats!
Yes, 26 years. So happy anniversary, baby. And I know he's watching on here somewhere.
He's what the heck? I love it. No, I love it when somebody leans in. I love it when somebody leans into a content series like that, right? Like what and like I am just a sucker for a catchy name. You know, I know people are worried sometimes about like being cheesy or whatever, but like Reps with Rod, that is tight. What the heck? That is tight. You know what I mean? Like
even good.
Even just Cup of Joe with Corey and Mo. You know what I mean? Like there's so little joy in this industry, I swear. And it's like wherever you can find it, just like I'm gonna jam it down your throat. So what the heck? I need it. And I froze again.
You did. You're good. Thanks for joining us, James. James Milner has joined us over on Instagram, and Ashco Centers has also joined us on Instagram. So thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate you guys being here today. Besides talking about my anniversary, which, by the way, I just want to pop in real quick. Okay, I got married at a castle. I don't know many people who actually get. Yeah, I know, right? So Hector and I got married in Alpine, California, and I lived in Alpine. And I worked for Nike, and a girl came in. She was looking for shoes for her, not her anniversary, for her reception. And I was like, oh, very cool. You know, I'm getting married too. And she was like, oh, yeah, we found this place. There's a castle here in Alpine that we're getting married at. Thanks, James. And he said, happy anniversary. And I was like, there's no castle in Alpine. I freaking live here. I've never seen a castle. A castle's literally right behind my parents' house, right? So it was like up the hill, and then it goes down. And anyway, it was like less than a mile from my parents' house. It was pretty amazing. So we rent out this castle. You can actually go see it. It's like alpinecastle.com. It's huge. And so we got the whole venue for 3 days for like $1,500. And yeah, so we got married at a castle. I think more people were interested at like going and seeing, because he has like a dungeon in there. Like they were more interested in exploring than they were actually like attending the wedding, which is super funny. But it was a really cool location. Yeah.
Did you get married in the dungeon? Sorry.
No, we got married in front of like man, it's gonna start tracking me now. We got married in front of like in the basically it's like the foyer, I guess is what you would call it. And there was a fountain behind us.
Nice.
But it was like a built-in fountain. So like a wall fountain.
Yeah. I can
because every castle needs a wall fountain. But anyway, so happy anniversary, 26 years. Can't believe he stayed with me this long. Because I am such a treat and a gem.
You're a delight.
I'm a delight.
Are a delight.
Delightful. Okay, so we're actually talking today. There's actually a point today about our conversation. And it is really about the comparison trap. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today, kind of a heavy subject. And maybe not. Oh, Real Estate Ron has joined us on Instagram. Hey, Ron, thanks for joining us. Ron Koenigsberg. He's out of New York City. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. So many people actually don't get started creating content for social, for their business, because the biggest excuses I hear, and I'm calling them excuses because that's exactly what they are. well, there's so many people already on social. No, there's not. Not like you guys are seeing it from your lens and your perspective on in commercial real estate. Look at how many, so like look at residential real estate and how many of those people are doing stuff on social. And now, for the most part, they're doing it poorly. I'm just going to put that out there. Like, so Hector did real estate for like 2 years. He actually did really well. But he has like a back injury. So like there's the whole thing about that. Anyway, that's besides the point. But yeah, most residential real estate agents are like literally putting up the same crap that it's like when you reps with Rod. It's like when you go to the gym and you see somebody doing they're doing like a workout routine and you don't know that they're doing it wrong. So you start copying them and you're doing it wrong. And then the next person sees you doing it and they start copying you. And you have this whole group of people that are doing it wrong, but they're still doing it, right? They're still putting it out there. It's just not getting the results that they want. So in commercial real estate, I, of course, hear, well, there's so many people. I'm never going to be big. Okay. That's their audience is not your audience. Who cares? Right? Then there's, well, I have nothing to talk about. Really? What are you talking to your clients about? Right? Like, what's that conversation happening? Like, how is that going? So there's that. The comparison trap. I'm not interesting. Really? I think you're interesting. We're having a conversation right now. You're telling me about your experience. Your experience is way different than everybody else's experience. It is interesting. Now, you as a person might be boring as mud, but why not like play into that, right? There's Cody Sanchez. Her entire thing is about boring businesses. Plus, she also steals stuff, but that's okay. Like, we're not going to call her out on that.
Just okay. Kind of call her out. Right. Cool. Cool.
But I mean, but she's made a whole shtick about boring business, right? You can create something. Stop. You can create content. It can be of value if you stop comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing on social. And now Fly, I know, has something about if you are going to create something, do not copy other people.
It's really, I've been seeing it a lot more lately, and I was on X yesterday and saw a post. And okay, so this was maybe more tame than other things because it was kind of in the land of like meme land. But we just had April Fool's Day. There was a lot of creativity from a lot of different people. And what I saw was that somebody had taken a joke about like, what is it like? Is it Chipotle and Klarna? Like you had like go like for on your burrito, right? But there was an April Fool's Day joke kind of going around with that as the topic. And literally there was a post that was copied and pasted word for word, almost exactly the same graphic. And it was like they didn't change any of the details. They didn't change any of the numbers. They literally copied and pasted this person's joke, put their face on a picture and like put it up. And a couple incredible things, like the one being that like the copied post itself was not necessarily being called out, like by the people who were posting it. Like it still got a lot of likes. It still got all this kind of stuff. And, especially there's kind of gray areas when you look at some things that like that specifically, like jumping on a trend, or, it's like kind of having a theme, or like everyone's doing like the ChatGPT image, like make it themselves an action figure or make themselves a Ghibli character, like all that kind of stuff. Right. I'm like,
you're not talking about that.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally copying and pasting somebody else's post specifically exactly in the text, right? And so like this is a trap that I will see people fall into a lot because they're like they see something and they're like, oh, that's working for a person. I'm just going to like do what they did. Which goes back to your point of like you see other people doing things, you copy what they're doing. It's not necessarily the right thing. Like but I know that people do that. I mean, it's the same reason why kids like cheat on papers,
right?
Right? Because it is very, very hard. Yeah, Robin, exactly. It is very, very hard and difficult to come up with something original. So I don't know. I don't know what your reaction is to any of that right now.
I have actually seen this quite a bit, and I've had it happen to me when I worked for a B2C company. We would get inspired by memes that had nothing to do with our industry, and then we would create something based on that premise, but have it it had to deal directly with our industry. So it was a twist on it, right? And we would create these memes. These memes would end up with the copy. Copy had to be completely different because obviously, like a lot of times when memes are posted, there's no copy that goes with it. But you always, I always want to have copy to go with it. And so we would recreate these, and then other companies in our industry would literally steal our memes and our copy to the point where like we would have very specific like call outs, like call to action. They would even like copy the call to action. It was like, how lazy are you that you can't come up with something on your own? You have to copy and paste. And so then we started putting watermarks on all of our memes, and they would just crop out the watermark. And we're like, dude, you're still copying our copy. You're still copying the words that we put out there. It makes no sense. Like it's so cheesy and so bad. Yeah, I highly recommend people do not do this. I've actually talked about this on X. James Milner says this is different from taking a piece of content that say you're tagged in, and yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. So James has a good point. He's asking this on Instagram. He says, but this is different from taking a piece of content that say you're tagged in and repurposing it and adding your thoughts or a quote to. Yes, we're not talking about that. What we're specifically talking about is you see something and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Another person sees it and says, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to copy it.
Like and then literally copy paste.
Right. And so they steal the image or they steal the copy, then they paste it into their own stuff, claim it as their own, and nobody calls them out. Now, if this happens to you, the best way to call out a person in a very polite and professional manner is to go into the comment section and go, I see you loved what we created. Thank you so much for sharing it.
I love that. That's so that's very tasteful.
Thank you. Right?
Might not be my first reaction.
Yeah. No, of course not. Because your first reaction is WTF, right? Like,
yeah. But like one of the things here that I think is really important to pinpoint is it's like, if you see something that engages you, that compels you, that you think is funny, that you think is smart, like whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you see something and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be like that. Instead of following that impulse, if you like, I think the people who are in our audience don't necessarily have the impulse to like steal, right? But it's like, what can you learn? Try to build some critical thinking into that reaction, which there's not a lot of. Scrolling through social media can tend to be not a very active process, right? And so you and I, something that we do a lot in our roles and in the way that we interact in these spaces is literally like looking at the people who are doing really compelling things and then like putting it under a microscope and reverse engineering it of like, this is why this works for this reason. Like in my notes app, I have like an essay basically of like why Hatch and Molzer were the only people in the space who could have done the Get Ready With Me Ashton Hall Saratoga video, right? Like I'm very interested in the sort of like, in how the people become who they are, right? Especially, right. On social media, right? But so when you see somebody doing something that you wish you could be doing, start to unpack the reasons why that is something that you want, instead of just being like, oh, I'm going to do this for, there's no reason to jump on a trend. There's no, in many ways, there is no reason to jump on a trend if it's not in alignment with what you're already building for yourself, right? And so if you look at, I think that a lot of people wish that they could be like Hatch, they could be like Molzer, they could be like Knackle, they could be like XYZ, right? And actually, you want to know, this thought just popped into my mind. A part of the reason that they are viewed in that way is because they are doing it consistently. And so, like, for me, the biggest thing for people when they see that somebody having success, or they're farther along in their journey, whether that's in brokerage specifically or that's in social media, the number one thing I think that differentiates the two positions is, well, two things, is consistency and time in the game. Because you want to know how you develop a voice, you want to know how you get followers, you want to know how you become Knackle, you do it every day.
Right.
You do it every day, right? And so and so this is twofold, right? It's like trying to encourage people to get up and do the damn thing, but also it's like there is no point at looking at someone who has an incredible following, who has a very clear voice in their content or style in their content or whatever. There's no point in comparing yourselves to them, especially if you do not have the same building blocks, right?
Right.
I don't know.
No, and that's actually, so it's a great point that you brought up, because it comes down to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals of starting your journey on social media. I mean, you can just start to start, but eventually you have to have a strategy, and eventually you have to have content buckets and pillars that you're going to pull from, that you can, for lack of a better phrase, that you can grab and then create your content. So when I talk to clients, it's like, what are some of the things that you can talk about that are personal to you, right? That is your market expertise, is what creates you to be the authority. So many people are just like, well, I just do this. Okay, but how long have you been doing it? Well, I've been in the business 12 years. Okay, great. What's the comparison between now, from when you started, from when you started to now, right? What does it look like? Did you start during the great financial crisis, right? How is that parlayed into what's happening now in 2025? And then you start to see that their eyes will like kind of widen, and they're like, oh, well, okay, yeah, I do have a lot of things that I can talk about. There are some comparisons. There are some differences. This is what I'm seeing. Okay, you have personalized market knowledge, correct? Well, yeah. How are you explaining that to your clients? That's one of your content pillars. That's one of the buckets that you're going to pull from. Are you like really into mentorship? That's one of your content pillars. That's one of the buckets you're going to pull from. Are you really like gung ho about entrepreneurship and knowing how to run your business? Because let's be clear, you are running a business, right? You might be with a giant brokerage firm, but it's technically still your business, right? Yeah. How are you running your business to make it grow? And are you willing to share that story with other people? We see big names in our industry. We want to be like them. They started with a strategy. They started with a way of like, okay, here's my expertise. Here's how I'm going to showcase it. That's how you stop the comparison. Now, would I have loved to have seen Bob? And in fact, we talked about it. So when there was the trend with it was the two people that were like calling out the other person as they were running. Suspect is running, right? I wanted Bob and Faraz to do a suspect is running video because I thought that would have been hilarious. Would it have been on brand? Probably not. Would it have been super funny? Heck yeah, it would have been funny. Is that very niche? Because that was really only super popular on TikTok. Yes. You didn't see any of that stuff on Instagram. You didn't really see any of it on LinkedIn. So if we had done something like that, even though I really wanted to, would it have helped the brand, the Bob Knackle brand, the BKREA brand? it would have been a cool piece of content, but does it push anything further? Not really. No. Now, when we're talking about a Zach Molzer, or we're talking about a Chris Hatch, who they can and they will do stuff that is very on brand for them. Again, notice I say it's on brand for them. Both of them are very outspoken on X, right? Like that's part of their personality, and we expect it. But if we were to have somebody who's quieter and maybe not as vocal do something like that, that probably would have made you step back and go, huh. Now, to be clear, when we're talking about the Saratoga water guy, whatever his name is, that's why I just keep what is it?
Ashton Hall.
The Saratoga water guy. We're talking about him and somebody doing a parody of the Get Ready With Me video. Totally different. We're not talking about copying. They're not copying him. They're making fun of the whole thing. And I really do wish, I mean, Hatch really missed it when he didn't rub the mozzarella sticks over his face.
You know what I had wanted Molzer to do was, remember they had found all that old soda? I really wanted him to have poured the old soda into the thing and then done it. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's
his
probably
face would have melted off.
That's probably over the line.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, the Saratoga water guy pours his Saratoga water into a bowl of ice, and then he gives himself face ice baths, like 25 times.
It's a lot. Okay, right. But it's like, so again, but even then, Hatch and Molzer and, even just anybody, right? Anybody who is, getting, doing those kinds of things or getting a lot of good feedback. I froze again. They didn't start like that, first of all. And so one thing I see is people seeing other people get a lot of, vanity metrics, like a lot of engagement and likes and things like that for stuff that really have nothing to do with their business.
Right.
It's like, they're like, oh, okay, so to start this, I have to do that. And I'm like, that is not at all the place to start. Right.
So what's your recommendation for where they start?
What my recommendation for where they start is exactly where you're at, right? Because we're talking about people who aren't sure, they aren't sure where to begin. They don't know they don't think that they have anything to talk about. They don't think that they're good writers. And once again, 100%, I recommend that you start with looking at what the actual content is and not the format, right? Not the media. Who are you talking to? What are the best conversations you're having? What are you seeing in your market? And also, like you said, in terms of looking back at your own experiences, the only comparison worthy of making is one of yourself now to yourself in the past, right? Because that is where you are going to have the kind of insights that absolutely nobody else will have, right? The comparison trap actually takes you away from valuing and looking at the kinds of things that only you are the expert in. And because of social media is so passive and we only see other people, you can spend all your time on social media and looking at things, but activating your own experiences and putting them out there is a whole different ballgame, right? And so what I feel really strongly about is, you're not a good writer. Okay, the way you get better at writing is you write, right? And so the posts that you're making in the beginning, the content that you're writing in the beginning is not necessarily going to be where you want it to be, right? And so you either hire somebody to help you get better at it, or you put in the reps the same way that you would put in the reps in calling, because again, your first cold call is probably a lot worse than the calls you're making after you've had some time in the game for a while. Right. So if you see things that other people are doing that you wish that you could do, bookmark them, save them, make them your vision board. Don't make them a reason not to start.
Oh, I love that. Make them your vision board, not the reason that you're not starting on creating your content. That's fantastic. We could probably end the show right there, and we actually need to, because you got to go. But a hack. Here's a hack for some of you guys who are not comfortable writing. Start doing voice memos. And then you're going to take those voice memos and you're going to upload them You're going to send them. I don't care where you send them. There's different programs that you can use that can transcribe them. Right now, you can even use CapCut to get the transcription, right? As long as CapCut still exists in the next couple of days. We have no idea what's happening. But take that and then put that transcript into ChatGPT and ask Chat to, and I'm giving you, like, y'all should be taking notes. Take the transcript and upload it to ChatGPT and then tell ChatGPT, analyze this transcript for my voice tone and wow, I can't speak. My voice tone and style. And then it's going to give you, okay, this person speaks like this. Okay, great. Based on the content and using it as context, that's the transcript, right? Create a LinkedIn post that provides value. That is the prompt. Take notes. See what comes up. And then you'll get some stuff and you're like, damn, that sounds like me. Wow. Okay, this is really cool. And then what you're going to do, you're not just going to sit on your ass and not do anything with that content. You're going to take it and you're going to post it on LinkedIn. And then you're going to see what happens, right? And you're going to test it, and you're going to test it, and you're going to test it and test it. There's no excuse with the technology that we have right now that I'm a poor writer. Can you talk? Can you record yourself? Can you record your voice? You don't even have to record your face, just your voice. Boom. There you go. Okay. No.
I love it.
It was, hey, that's.
And the number one thing that I can recommend actually to people who are looking to get started and they don't know where to start, boom, you go right there. Because in my experience, and again, like a whole part of my brand is the fact that I lack self-confidence and I'm working on that and putting myself out there and I'm uncomfortable on video. And like now, you know, within the last year, I've made a lot of progress on that because I've put in the reps and I've found, hi, Dwayne, I've put in some people, you know, I've met people who I'm learning from, you know, right? And so if you are struggling to get started or to feel confident in your writing or in, you know, learning about this and like putting your ideas into action, you go right there. You go to this link because this person over right there is the number one person who is going to help you get out of the comparison trap, get out of inaction, and start moving with confidence and clarity towards searching your content. Boom, boom, boom.
That was beautiful. I should hire you. All right, everybody, have a great day. And one more time, happy anniversary to Hector and myself.
What the heck?
What the heck? I know. What the heck? That's actually that I'm going to get. He hates doing video, by the way, but he'll do it. So we're gonna start that series. All right, everybody, have a good day. And if you have any questions, you know, you can DM me or Fly. We're on all the socials, and we will help answer your questions. Have a good day.